What is happening, people? Welcome back to Scarfe's Spurs Talk, the return of the Premier League show. It feels like it's been a while. You could say it's dragged a little bit, but we've got there in the end. Today, I'm joined by a fantastic panel. I've got two of them with me now. Firstly, Billie T. Welcome back. How you been doing?
Yeah, very good. It's getting excited now. Getting really excited for the season. Can't wait, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for asking. It's great to get you back on. It's great, club football coming back Friday as well. So thank you very much, Billie. Sophie, thank you very much for coming on. I believe your debut on the channel. It certainly won't be the last either. How have you been doing, firstly?
I'm really good, and I'm just really happy to be on here because you're doing amazing things, and it's just going to be so fun to chat with you. How are you doing?
Oh, very good, thank you. It's very kind as well. It's great to have you on. So, although you're an Arsenal fan, it's still great to have you on. So, no, thank you very much for coming on. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It's free to do so, and it helps the channel and the podcast grow. So, that'd be massively appreciated. So, today we're just going to kind of run through every game this weekend and also predict the season. So, I want to start with top six predictions. It's where both our clubs are involved. We've got John, Newcastle fan, coming on later, also where his club will hope to be involved. So, Sophie, I'll start with you. Run me through what you think the top six is going to look like come the end of the season. You can do it whatever way around you prefer.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've really been thinking like a lot about Arsenal with like this, top two at the moment. So I think for me, obviously I want Arsenal to do it, but it's sort of hard to say. But I'll just go Arsenal first. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be in order, but Man City. I think Liverpool, I think they're probably going to be a little bit behind us and City, but I'm going to go, them third. Fourth, it's an interesting one because United, I just sort of don't know. You look at them and they can beat City in, certain games, but then when it comes to the league, they're not very consistent. So it obviously pains me as an Arsenal fan, but I think you guys could get top four. I think with the signings that you've made, I've been quite impressed. Lanky, I think he's a very good signing. So I would probably go, that's my top four. Regarding, it's so hard with like Villa because I don't know if they're still gonna, get Europe, but I'm gonna go United fifth. Sixth will be hard. I'd probably say Aston Villa, Newcastle, but probably more Villa.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's a very good top six. That sounds good. Thank you very much, Sophie. Billie, what do you think the top six will look like? It's really hard to say now because a lot of changes as we go throughout the season. But what are you kind of thinking now? What it will look like?
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit awkward because my top six is almost like exactly identical. But I'm gonna make one change, and I'm gonna also say one thing, which I really, as much as it pains me to say it again, I have a real strong feeling that Arsenal might do it this year. I'm not going to put that in my top six, but I'm just saying it now. I think this could be their year. Unfortunately, I just think that the Man City wheels might come off a little bit more this season than last season. And Arsenal look really strong, but I'm not going to say that officially. Yeah. But unofficially, I will say that I think Arsenal might do it. But yeah, Man City, Arsenal first and second, obviously. And I agree. I think Liverpool will probably be third, but I think they might surprise a few people. They haven't made any signings yet, which is a bit of an interesting one. But I think their squad's really, really good anyway. And you can never really write off for the talent they have. And then I'm really hoping, I'm just being optimistic and putting us in fourth. I think the race for fourth place is between about 4 or 5 teams, which Liverpool might get dragged into. To be honest, I think Arsenal and Man City are way above the other top six at the moment. And I can't see that bridge being gapped too much. And then I think in fifth, I agree. I think Man United. And then the only change I'll make is I think Chelsea might finish sixth just because they have an insane amount of players. And it's going to come a point when they have too many good players to be able to fail. So I'll go exactly the same as Sophie, but just Chelsea in sixth.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to run through my top six. I've got us. I do sadly think it might be Arsenal's year, so I will go with Arsenal in first, Man City second. Third, I think is going to surprise a few people. Man United. I think they make a couple of signings from now to the end of the window, and I think they will improve. I just think that it's going to take a bit of time. Fourth, I think will be Liverpool. Struggle a little bit, maybe fall away towards the end of the season. Fifth, I think Newcastle again was a team that will surprise a few people, because they've been outside of Europe and I think they have time to go in and improve. I think they might get Mark Gay over the line. And I've got us down in 6 as Tottenham. So I think I'd be a little bit disappointed looking in now. But I did draft this before Solanke come in. So that is what my top 6 looks like now. So it's really, really interesting because it always never quite unfolds how you think it would. Or I don't think a lot of us would have gone Villa would have got top 4. So I do think a lot does change. Let's go to the comments. Appreciation says Liverpool 5th for me. It's quite bold, really, in terms of it's a really good squad. You can't write them off, but a new manager, not a lot of signings. I can certainly understand where you're coming from. Now we're going to go to the other end of the table and talk about the relegation battle. So, Billy, I'll come back to you. Who are your kind of 3 teams to get relegated?
The way that the Premier League's been going in the last few years, you wouldn't be surprised if the promoted team just all goes straight back down. But I'm not going to be that boring. I'm gonna stick my neck out and say that Ipswich might just stay up, just because I really like their manager, and I think I don't know, he was very highly sought after in some, wasn't he? And I think he might just do enough to keep them up. But I think Southampton and Leicester will really struggle. Leicester, I think, are going to struggle because I was reading they've got a lot of injury problems going into our game, and then they haven't been able to get many signings over the line yet. And obviously, they lost their manager as well. They got a new manager. I don't know loads about the promoted teams, I'll be honest. I don't know a lot about them yet. And I think until you see them in the first few games, you don't really know. But I think Southampton and Leicester will go down. But my other prediction to go down is going to be Brentford, because I think they've been hovering, getting worse and worse every season. And I think it might just all be a little bit too much from this year. And I think they might, if they lose Toney in particular, they just lost that striker that they bought to replace Toney. I think it might be a bit much. And I think they were a bit lucky last year. They ended the season really badly. So those would be my 3. Southampton, Brentford, and Leicester.
Okay, thank you very much, Billy. Welcome on to the show, John Sinclair. How are you doing?
Big up to so I'll just get this sorted out. Do apologise. Big up to you, Harry. Big up to Billy for the first time, but you're mute. And also to one of my favourite Guna and the talented, the wonderful, the prestigious Sophie.
Oh, big up yourself, John. Good to see you in here as well.
Thank you very much indeed, and Harry as well. Big up to Harry. Thanks for having us on, man.
No, thank you very much for coming on. We'll come to you next then, John. We'll talk about relegation battle. What do you think the 3 teams that go down will be this season?
For me, I mean, it's a tough one because clubs has improved, and the fact of the matter is, I think this could be the toughest one yet. So for me, it's going to be a gamble. I was going to say Forest, but they've got 2 good defenders, Milenkovic and Murillo at the back, and I think those 2 could make a difference at the back. For me, I'm going to go with Leicester because I'm not quite sure they're ready yet. And yes, they've got a couple of players coming in, but for me, I think Leicester's going to go with the 6 points deduction as well. That ain't going to be easy. I can see, I think Brentford's time in the Prem, right, could come to an end, unfortunately, because, listen, I mean, they got a problem with Ivan Toney where he's going to leave, go, and he's going to stay and go, and they need to get some money for him. If they don't, it's good for him to stay, but I think they could be in the spot of bother. Big up to Barney, mate. They could be in the spot of bother. I mean, Southampton, I think they might be okay because I think Russell Martin kicked up because they played good football as well. Whether they're going to get found out, I don't know. But he sticks to his principles. I don't think he's going to change his footballing style at all whatsoever. That's his style of play. Everton's been getting away with it all the time. I think Everton might be out. But for me, it's going to be Leicester, Brentford, and the third one is going to be real tough. It's going to be very, very tough for me. I think it's going to be, I don't know what to say, guys. I really, the third one's going to be hard. I need to sleep on it.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it is. Because I think Leicester, I think Ipswich on them, Kieran McKellar be fine. No problems at all. I think they're going to do enough to stay up the season under Kieran McKellar. And sounds good doing enough under Russell Martin. For me, I'm going to stick with that. So Brentford's going to go. Leicester's going to go. the third one's going to be wide open for me, but I see a shock. I thought it's going to be a shock, but now he puts in a top position. Yeah, I'm going to go with. I think Southampton is the Leicester. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back on the third one, guys. It's hard.
No, that's fine. No worries. It's hard. It's really hard. And it's like I was saying to the guys before you came on, John. A lot of what happened last season we wouldn't have predicted. We wouldn't have predicted Bournemouth to do really well, fight for the top half. Palace to kick on that second half of the season. Villa. So it is completely understandable. That's completely fine. Sophie, I'll come to you. Who do you think will be the 3 teams that go down?
I pretty much agree with what everyone's saying here. I definitely feel like Southampton, Leicester, but like John said, it's sort of the third one. Bit unsure. I mean, Everton, I feel like they will stay up like they did last time. Forest is another one that I'm still a bit unsure, but I think they make a good point about if Ivan Toney, a lot of clubs are interested in him if he moves, which I feel like he should, whether that's to United or wherever he goes. I think Brentford would be a lot different without him. They might not get relegated, but I think they would struggle. But it's so hard picking the third one because
Yes.
yeah. But I'll go Leicester, Southampton. I'll go Forest. I think they possibly might. I'll go for another team that's different from them, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Sophie. I agree with your 3, actually. And I agree with both Billy and John that Brentford will be in and around that kind of relegation battle. I think they seem to be getting progressively worse. I think they've lost a few players through injury. They might lose Toney. I just think that Thomas Frank has done all he can with Brentford. I don't think they can go any further at this moment in time. So that's what I think.
I think it could be Tom Stanks' last season because I think he'll soon move on because, look, he's done a fantastic job with Brentford. I know that he's highly rated by them, but I think Thomas would deserve a new challenge, and I think he's still in the Premier League, but I think he'll fancy a new challenge somewhere. Where that be, I don't know. But for me, and I think no one mentioned Wolves at all. That they lost Neto, and the problem with Wolves, I think Wolves under Gary Neal has done a fantastic job. Yeah, but they're going to be around the edge of the season as well, unfortunately, because look, they haven't really signed that much. I'm not going to lie, they lost Max Kilman. That's a massive, massive blow. Pedro Neto is a massive, massive blow as well. But for me, they were relying on Gary Neal signing a new 4-year deal, and if even they do get relegated, stick on to Gary Neal because I think it'd be fantastic for them. But I think Forest will have to start well. They really have to, but they have got some good players. Milenkovic is fantastic, and it's just that as well. But they could be losing Neco Williams from Atalanta if they follow up their list as well. But this is going to be tough as well. I could easily Ipswich as well, but I think Ipswich will just about do it this season. I really do, but they could surprise.
I think they'll be all right.
Oh, 100%. But the third one, I'm going to put my neck out, and I will say just Southampton. I think Southampton will go, but only just.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's a common one that will come up. So no, thank you very much, John. Lewis Cook says, why do you guys think Toney hasn't moved yet? Price or something else? Billy, I'll ask you first because you were linked to him. I mean, along with other clubs such as Sophie's Arsenal. What do you think has happened with the Ivan Toney situation? The clubs maybe they're not keen. Is it to do with the whole kind of scandal off the pitch you've seen? What do you think it is that Ivan Toney's still a Brentford player?
I think it's probably a mixture of things. I think his price probably went up as soon as that striker that they bought, I forget the name of, that they got injured. His price probably went up slightly. I think there's always been questions about his attitude and his ban that he had last year. I think his talent has never really been in question. I think he's an excellent striker. Will score a lot of goals wherever he goes. But I think as soon as that striker got injured, Brentford probably put the price up. And I also imagine that he's going to want pretty big wages as well. It's a bit of a weird transfer window this year. Like, there's not loads of activity at all going on at all. It's not that kind of transfer window like we've seen in the past. Unless you're Chelsea or Man United, there's not really much activity. So I don't know how much there even is a market for him at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him go to Saudi Arabia, which I saw he got linked with yesterday, because they're probably the only ones that can afford it at the moment. Because now that PSR is really kicking in, not many clubs are making big moves like that. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of those different things, really.
No, I completely agree. I mean, you mentioned Chelsea there. I mean, they have enough players to field, I think, 3 or 4 teams. They'd be a huge, like, American football team. Yeah, it's this huge team. So, no, they're definitely signing players and not feeling the effects of PSR or FFP. Sophie, I'll come to you about this. What do you think of it? And also, is Ivan Toney a player you'd like to see at Arsenal to take you to that next level and win that title?
Well, for me, like when I think about strikers that Arsenal needs, I originally was always like Ivan Toney because, I like kind of watching players in the Premier League because, like, for example, when we signed Declan Rice, I knew what to expect from him. So I felt like with Toney, he would be a good fit. But then sorry, John, for saying this, but then I sort of like Isaac. So, but you know what? If I be honest now, I would take Toney. I think. Going to season, if someone said Arsenal are going to get Toney, I would feel a lot more confident about winning the league. So I think he would be a good signing. But the only kind of thing that I've always had a bit of a doubt in my mind, I don't necessarily think he's got a bad attitude, but I'm not sure like if him and Arteta would kind of gel or get on. I mean, I know in interviews, like Toney, he has been quite, it's been clear to a lot of us that he probably would like a step up in his career. And I think some things, you wouldn't really say on interviews. So I like him a lot. I would take him. I think it's hard because he would probably want to go to a team that, are going to challenge or win things like a top 4, 6 team maybe. I think United, that would be a very good signing, but I am surprised that no one's really bought him yet. I think he's a very good player, but I just don't think Arsenal seem interested in buying a striker at the moment. So I don't think we'll get him, but I would love him.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you very much. John, I'll come to you actually, because before you jumped on, we done top 6 predictions. What do you think the top 6 is going to look like? If you've got a rough idea what it looks like, if you don't worry. What do you think is going to happen inside that top 6?
For me, I think Man City's going to win it again. It's always obvious. And listen, Julian Alvarez is a massive loss to them, and he's gone to Atletico Madrid. And I'm sure Pep will get someone to replace him very quickly, perfectly before this the start of the season or before the transfer window close. So I think that's going to be him. So Man City come first. Second would be Arsenal again. I mean, they've always found a way. Sorry, Sophie.
No, it's fine.
I still think you need a number 9. You definitely need a number 9. I mean, Havertz, Havertz done great this season for you guys, but for me, you need a number 9. Third, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna shock a lot of people there. I'm gonna go with Chelsea because if they get fit to Osman, I think Chelsea will find a way. They will find a way, and I think if Osman hits it off, they do get Osman, and he bangs the goals like he does at Napoli. Then I think, for me, Chelsea come third. I know it's going to surprise a lot of people. They'll find a way, and fourth for me, I'm going to go with Liverpool. Fifth, I'm going to go with. It's a hard one because it could be between us, Tottenham, and United. I'm going to go with just Newcastle because we've got no European competitions this season, and if we can stay injury-free, right, no bad injuries like we did last season, I think we'll be okay. But we need a defender. We need a right side of mid badly because for me, as much as I love Mickey, he ain't going to be the answer. And some of the fans, Newcastle fans, still love this guy. Yeah, 6 assists in 5.5 years he's been at Newcastle United and scored 30 goals. That ain't enough. That ain't good enough. That's not going to get me a trophy. That's not going to get me a title. Yeah, but I think Nicky B needs to be moved on because he's one of those players that's holding us back because we do need a right side mid. Yeah, but he's holding us back, and he said he wants to stay. There's still a lot you can do about it. Yeah, There's others. I would have got 7 players I would have got rid of for Newcastle. Yeah.
Can you give us a few? Because I agree with you. I think Newcastle need to shift players as well as Almiron. Is there any others you look to get in? Obviously, help afford to bring in other players with FFP and that.
Oh, I can name you 7 or 8 or 9 straight away. Sean Longstaff, for example. Yeah. I mean, I like him. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, he's a decent guy. But he's not going to win me a title. Yeah, he's got 1 year left on his contract, and if he does a new deal, or Miggy stays, and we don't make a good start, I love Eddie Arnold bits. I want him to be here for 10 years. But it's going to be on him because he's too loyal for the players, too loyal to the players, yeah? He needs to be ruthless. And at the minute, he's not being ruthless, Harry. He's not being ruthless, Harry, Sophie, Billy. He is not. He's too loyal, some of the players, yeah? Isaac Hayden, he's got 2 years left on his contract. Goodbye. Matt Target, he's on 100k a week. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's hardly played, yeah? We're long better than him. Yeah, Ryan Fraser, right? 1 year left on his contract, 63k a week. He can go as well.
Wow.
Callum Wilson, you know how much I'm a big Callum Wilson fan, right? He's on 100k a week. He should have gone to Atletico Madrid last January. Yeah. But,
John, I really, really agree with you. And I think that, what happened to a lot of these players, I mean, in particular, like Target, Longstaff, they leave when their contract expires for free. Whereas Newcastle, to be able to afford, we're hearing links like Mark Gay, to be able to afford past his valuation, they're better to just take whatever they can get. It's a case of whatever it should be, shouldn't it? Whether it's a few million, just take it. So do you think also that the board just need to go and the managers need to go, yes, just take whatever you can get for some of these players to bring players in?
Yeah, absolutely, Harry. I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, we've got players there. There were players that are not good enough for Newcastle United. And I've always said that. And some of the fans today, I've seen on social media, saying that Miguel Almiron is a key player. Key player for what? I mean, look, I love Miggy, right? He's a terrific guy. I can't question his work rate, right?
He's not consistent enough, though, is he? He doesn't produce consistently.
It's going back to what I said, six assists in 5.5 seasons. So you have to ask the question, right? Do you want to win a trophy? Is Miggy going to win a trophy, right? He's going to win me a title. He's 30 years of age, right? He's got ample opportunities to go to Saudi. He could have gone to Charlotte, but apparently they've fallen through because Charlotte FC, based in America, wanted to offer a low ball offer, yeah? And they pulled away. If he was that good, which other club's going to come in for him, man? Because look,
you just accepted it. Just get him out the door. A wage off,
and a wage bill as well. Yeah, absolutely. But we as Newcastle fans, we're not allowed to have a go at our players, and we're not having a go at Miggy, right? All we're saying is, I'm judging Miggy as a player, Harry. I'll judge as a player. Yeah. He is not good enough. I mean, if he was at Tottenham Hotspur or Arsenal, right, and he was there for 5 points, would he be lasting 5.5 seasons at Tottenham?
No.
They would have shipped him out by now. Why can we not just get the money what you can, get a 10 mil, right, and just get him shifted? Because we're trying to get Matt Geary as well. Again, he's holding us back. There's the 6 players I think I named should be on their way, but they're quite happy sit on the wages at Newcastle. Let's hope the players I mentioned, right? I'm sure Sean's going to be mentioned. Miggy's going to be mentioned. Don't get in the 25. Yeah. And people say I'm going to go at him. I'm not. They are not good enough. We're talking levels, yeah? Levels, yeah? That's what I'm talking, levels. I want to win things, yeah? I mean, look, Miggy's not good enough for Arsenal. He's not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. He's not good enough for the Big Six, yeah? And here we are, right? I'm getting fans telling me on social media, it's their opinion, by the way, they're entitled to an opinion, but for me, right, I think he needs to be away. He needs to be away. I'm ambitious, yeah? I want to be a winner. I want to win trophies, but he had one good season, and everyone's bigging this guy up, saying he's the next big. We have unlocked him. 12 goals, yeah? And then the following season, he referred the type, yeah? One thing I will say on Miggy's defence, I would never forget him scoring the first goal, right? In 20 years, the first goal in 20 years against PSG, first goal in the Champions League, yeah? I will forgive him for that. I will praise him for that, right? But don't just love him because of that, yeah? I want to win things. I want the best for Newcastle United. I don't want people on there deeming I'm not good enough, yeah? Get them out, right? try and get in quality. Because I tell you one thing, we are not going to move on, with those players I've mentioned, right? We are forking out 8 million a season for those players are deemed not good enough. We're not going to blame the current ownership. I'll blame Mike Ashley.
Okay, no, fair enough. Let's move on now to the games that happen in Matchday 1 because your season gets underway Friday night. It gets underway at Old Trafford with Man United against Fulham. Billy, I'm going to kick it off with you. How do you see this first game going? Who do you fancy to take the win, and also your score prediction?
I've always thought last few years or so until while they had the Glazers, Man United have been a pretty poorly run outfit, but I think they've made some good signings this year. I think the new owners they're starting to get things in check a bit more. I think it'll be a comfortable Man United win. I think Marco Silva's a bit of an underrated manager, to be honest. I think he's an excellent manager, but I think it's a bit too big a test for Fulham in this case, just because it's the first game under a new era at Man United. They spent a lot of money, bought some new players. I know they do have quite a lot of injury problems, so I don't think it'll be a big win, but I think they'll win 2-0 on this occasion. And I think under the new signings that Man United made, they won the FA Cup in their last game of last season. I think it'll be a 2-0 win to Man United.
Yeah, Barney makes a good point. We've had the Fulham had an excellent pre-season. Marco Silva's recruited well, so no, that's a good point. So you've got
do think Marco Silva
2-0 United.
Yeah, I do think Marco Silva's a brilliant manager, possibly a bit underrated as well.
Yeah, I think so. It does well getting a tune out of players that their careers kind of peaching out. Ryan Sessegnon, and I have full faith that he gets them out in this season. So no, I do agree with you, Billy. Sophie, I'll come to you again. How do you see this game going? Because Fulham they brought in some good players, really. Emma Smith-Rowe, even Ryan Sessegnon coming back, defender, Spanish defender from Villarreal. But also they've had players go, haven't they? If Paulinho go, and they've lost quite a few. Willian, Tosin. So how do you think Fulham will do in this, and what do you think the score will be?
Do you know what? I think for me, I'm going to go with draw. I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay.
I think as well, it being the first game, for Fulham, I know, Smith-Rowe's been great so far, like Barney said. I think he's going to really help them and, make them have a better season. But it's not really anything to do with United. I just think Fulham will probably be more prepared going into the game in the sense that they've had a good pre-season. So I think it might be a difficult game for United, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they did win, because you would expect United to win against Fulham. But yeah, I think it'll be a tough game, that one, for both teams, really.
Yeah, I think so as well. John, how do you see this one going, and your score prediction for the first game of the Premier League season?
Yeah, this is going to be a really good game this between United and Fulham. Look, United have to rebuild, and that's exactly what they've done. Ten Hag is still in a job. They obviously got believing in this guy, and they have made some signings. I'm a big fan of Joshua Sirkzee. Love Italian football. This guy, 11 goals for since last season, and Bologna fans loves him. They wish him all the best. And they've got Matis the Elite as well. We have to understand the Elite. Look, he's played something like 24 games each of the seasons been at Juve, but he couldn't break into Giannini and the Bonucci partnership, which is fair enough. And they went to Bayern Munich, which is a tough club to deal with. Yeah, hardly played there because of the injuries as well. I think he's a really good defender. Ten Hag knows him his time at Ajax. Also brought in Masuri as well. They brought in Lenny Lior, so I think he's a really fantastic defender. 18 years of age, but he's out injured for a couple of months. That's a body blow on that one. As for Fulham, look, they lost Paulinho. That's a massive blow. I think Chris would be absolutely gutted at that as well. And they have got some good players in. Smith-Rowe's come in also as well. I think Muniz is going to have a good season with them as well. And they still got Andres Pereira on the books as well. So going to the game, I'm going to go 2-2. After the goals in this game, I'm going 2 each. And you know what? It'd be good for Fulham. But United, there'll be 2 points dropped at home. They need to kick off well. They need to start well, Harry, because I tell you what, all eyes should be on one guy in the summer, and that's Ten Hag. He has to get top 4 this season, and he has to deliver, because the reason they haven't sacked him is because they couldn't get no one else through the door, and that's the reason why. And I don't care what anyone say, I think Ten Hag's dealt a bad hand, right? He deserves another season.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you very much. You've got a couple of draws in there, got a win for United. I'm going to back Billy on this one. I agree with all of you in the sense it'll be tight, and I think Fulham are going to have a good season and they're going to give it a real go. I think United, if you asked me last week, I would have probably going to draw, but United signed a lot of players this week and they look ready after seeing them in the Community Shield as well. They look ready. And I think Aaron mentioned in the comments below, it's a really good preparation. That Community Shield game for the season is really competitive against your rivals. So I go 2-1 United on that one. But it's a good way to start the season. But the next game, Saturday lunchtime, is the one that I'm really looking forward to. And it's Ipswich host Liverpool. So Ipswich at Portman Road. Well, coming back to the Premier League against a new Liverpool side, a new era under Arne Slot. So Sophie, we'll kick it off with you. I mean, again, how excited are you for this one? And what do you think the score will be?
I think this is probably going to be up there for one of the toughest first games. I think for Liverpool and Ipswich as well, I suppose. But I mean, Liverpool really haven't made any signings, but we also know how great they are. It's going to be so interesting to see how they get on with their new manager throughout the season. I think Liverpool will win this 2-1. I do think Ipswich will make it very tough for Liverpool. I think they're going to be a team that will stay up this season as well. But I think it's going to be a very tight game. I think it's a very tough game for Liverpool to have, in the first game week. You don't really ever want the newly promoted team. So, I think I'm going to go 2-1 to Liverpool for that one.
2-1 to Liverpool. Okay, that's interesting. John, I'll come to you. Again, what do you think the score will be? And I saw your face light up when I mentioned about this game. Are you looking forward to it as well as a neutral?
I am, but I'll be traveling up to Newcastle by the time the match is on, because I'll be at St James's Park. I mean, look, Ipswich has got a tough start, haven't they? They've got Man City as well the next game, but that's for another day. But Ipswich, when they looked up, they think Liverpool first game, they think, okay, cool. But that's a baptism of fire for Kieran and his guys there. Look, Liverpool haven't bought anyone this season, right? Apart from Mamadashvili, but if they do get it, it'll be sent back up on loan. But obviously, Arne Slot is new coming in, and he's got belief in these players here. He's got faith in these for what Jurgen Klopp. To go for Jurgen Klopp's always going to be a tough act to follow, and I wish Arne well. He's a good manager. He's done it at Feyenoord. It'd be interesting how he does. And I'm going to say Ipswich 1, Liverpool 3.
Okay, thank you very much. That's also what I put down here for mine, so I'll go with that. I think Ipswich will give a run for their money. Billy, do you think Ipswich will make it tough? Obviously at home, back-to-back promotions. They're going to make it as hard as possible for Liverpool and Arne Slot, aren't they? And also your score prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the hat-trick and go for the same score as you guys as well. I think it'll be 3-1 Liverpool. I do think it won't be that good to the whole story of the game, because I'm guessing the atmosphere is going to be insane because it's their first Premier League game in a very long time. But I think the problem is they're going to try and play football against Liverpool, which I don't think will work. And they're not. I think the thing with Ipswich, they're not going to be one of those newly promoted teams that try and park the bus. They're going to play football all season, which can go really well. But against someone like Liverpool, it's probably a bridge too far because they're one of the best footballing teams in Europe. So I think it'll be 3-1 Liverpool as well.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the next game, at 3 p.m. game. I don't think will interest as many as Nottingham Forest. Well, unless you're a Forest or Bournemouth fan or in the relegation zone, maybe. But it's Forest versus Bournemouth. I mean, they could have both had a better season, I think, but I think it will be certainly one near the bottom of the table. Sophie, we'll come to you first. How do you see this one going, and your score prediction? And we did talk about it kind of earlier, but do you think they're both going to be more towards the bottom of the table? Do you think Bournemouth in particular got a surprise in them?
Yeah, I think Bournemouth, especially with Solanke leaving, he was absolutely amazing. I always felt that he could always move on. He was an amazing goal scorer. So I think with him being out of the team, I think it definitely makes it a lot more difficult for Bournemouth. I think Forest will win this. I'm going to go 2-0, but it's one of those games where you kind of don't know how it's going to go. But I do think I see both of them sort of near the end of the table. I think Bournemouth probably, even though I said I think Forest might get relegated, I think Bournemouth are going to have a big drop this season, especially with Sankey leaving.
Okay, thank you very much, John. How do you see this game going? And of course, as usual, your score prediction. But yeah, similar question I asked Sophie, I suppose. Yeah, with Bournemouth, do you think they will struggle? Like Sophie mentioned there, Solanke. Do you think that he'll be a big miss for them? Obviously, they haven't got a lot of time to find someone else to replace.
Yeah, they need a striker badly. Losing Dominic Solanke, like Sophie said, is going to be a massive, massive miss. Like, you're taking away 19 Premier League goals last season. That is a bit of a pill to swallow from Bournemouth, but they need a striker in badly. They talk about getting Eddie Nketiah. He's been linked to them as well. That's very interesting. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I'll go someone better than. I'm sorry, Sophie. I mean,
It's
look.
fine.
At the end of the day, I know you want him, guy. He needs to be playing games, man. But for me, I mean, we got Bournemouth second game of the season, yeah, and that ain't going to be easy. But this game, I mean, you look at Bournemouth, I think they beat them last season away as well, and which was a fantastic effort. But it's a big, big sixth season for Irola, massive season. But this game, I think Bournemouth will finish with table. Forest will be fine, and I see goals in this game. And I think Bournemouth will just nick it 2-1.
2-1 Bournemouth. Thank you very much, John. Billy, what do you think the score's going to be in this game?
Yeah, I agree with the other guys. I think it could go either way, this one. I don't know a lot about either the two teams. I haven't keep an eye on how they've been doing in pre-season, but obviously Solanke is going to be a huge loss for Bournemouth. But I think they made a couple of decent signings as well, and I think their manager's really good. So I'm going to go 1-1, just because I think it's going to be a really tight game.
Okay. Thank you very much. So that is what we think with that. Yeah, I do think it'd be a tight game. I agree with a lot of you on that, and I agree in terms of how you look at, in particular, Bournemouth's season. And the next game, it's only fair we go to John first. It's Newcastle versus Southampton. I think it's quite big for both. You know, Newcastle, John mentioned there, no European football. It's a chance for them to really kick on. It'll be frustrated, especially how the second half of last season, well, the first half as well, but bit more understandable with Champions League, but they've got a lot of injuries this season. Fresh start for Newcastle, and of course Southampton, newly promoted. Russell Martin. It's going to be hard. They're going to need points on the board early. John, how do you see this one going?
This is going to be a massive, massive game. I know it's game one, but this is going to be a massive. We've got potentially signed 2 goalkeepers, right? They're not going to be starting. Lewis Hall's going to be left back. I think he'd be out. Osula for Sheffield United. We bought him as well for 10 mil and with 5 on top. I don't think he'd be starting, but it's going to be the same squad as last season, to be fair. And all eyes will be on Eddie Howe this season because he's got to win us a trophy and also try and get us top 4. Either way, I take the trophy. He's got to do better than Sutton for last season. Yes, we had injuries last season, and which cannot be helped. I get that. Injuries comes part of the game. But this season, if I'm honest with you, you know how much I'm an Eddie Howe fan, but he's got no excuses. He's got to get us into the top 6 or win us a trophy. For me, we need a central defender and a right side of mid. We ain't got that. Team selection is going to be important, yeah? If he starts with Miguel Almiron and he doesn't come off and he doesn't pull it off, guys, then I fear the worst for Miguel. I heard people say they're going to turn on them, yeah? They're going to boo and diss him out. I don't think that's fair. I really don't think that's fair. You've got to get behind the team. You've got to get behind the player inside 90 minutes. What you do after that, it's up to you. But we have got to support the player, you know, for the whole 90 minutes. No ifs, no buts, yeah. But for me, I fully expect us to win. But we have got to start well. 3 points is an absolute must. I guess Saz just got promoted. Yes, I know Ross Morton's done a fantastic job. However, for me, I expect us a 2, maybe it's a 3-0 win. But if you get the first goal, I think it'd be 3s and 4s or 5s against these lot. And Southampton's going in for a shock of their lives. Listen, anything but a win, I'd be very disappointed, guys. So I'm going to go with 3-0. And let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see how this one goes. Thank you very much, John. Sophie, yeah, what's your thinking ahead of this? You can't help but fancy Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm quite confident Newcastle will get that win. On the other hand, the clean sheet, I'm not so sure. Because I think Southampton will want to really start off, on the front foot, and a lot of teams that are coming up really want to try and win these first games. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Newcastle, but I think it's a very tough game on both sides. But like John said, I think Newcastle really need to start off the season very well, because I know last season they had a lot of injuries, and the season before they did amazing getting top 4. But I think Newcastle need to start off like a good start throughout the season, especially the first game. Because I suppose if they lose the first game, it kind of be a bit harder going into the next game with their confidence. But I do think Newcastle will win.
Do you think Newcastle win? Okay, thank you very much. Billy, what do you think about this? I mean, as a neutral, I kind of fancy Newcastle, but it's important for both teams, isn't it, that they start the season well?
Yeah, I think it'll be an easy Newcastle win, to be honest. Again, the same as Ipswich. I think because of the manager that Southampton got, they're not going to try and park the bus, which I think can really hurt. As we saw with Burnley last year, it can really hurt newly promoted sides. I think it'll be 3-0 Newcastle. And I've just captained Gordon in my fantasy football team, so I'm hoping for some Gordon goals and assists.
So have I.
If he stays, that is that, because I heard Liverpool's after him as well.
Yeah.
And I tell you one thing now: if he leaves, I fully expect Andy Gordon to stay. But if they allow him to go to Liverpool, then we have to question the club's ambition. Because I tell you what, lose Anthony Gordon, the only way it's going to save their grace is getting kudos from West Ham or return back for Brighton, and that's the only way that I'm going to be satisfied. But we've got to keep Anthony Gordon at all costs if we are to win trophies.
Yeah, interesting. Billy mentioned there about captaining Gordon. I'm stuck between captain Isak or Gordon. I do think it'll be a Newcastle player or captain. Just go to the comments. Aaron says he's going to captain Isak. And we've got a couple of predictions here. 2-1 Newcastle. Some people think it'll be closer than I think as well. I'm thinking 4-0, 4-1. Newcastle, so I do think that they will start well at James's Park. If it's away and Southampton are at home, I do think this could be a little bit different, with Southampton getting the home lift they need and Newcastle not getting that bounce that St James's Park gives. But we'll move on to the next game. And
Go
it is
comment. Sorry, I've got a comment.
Go for it.
Can Candy Ross 1, 2, 3 stop talking to little kids? Do you know who she is or he is?
No, I don't know, but I can ban them if it helps.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, right? If it happens again, right? I mean, it's your channel, Harry, but one thing I will see, right? I think that's disrespectful as well. Very disrespectful. It can't be saying that
definitely.
on the channel.
We condemn that, and there you go. That person's been put in timeout. So sorry about that, John. I do apologise. Look, we're always going to get a lot of people jealous of the position that the good work that you do. But we will move on to the next game, and it is Everton against Brighton at Goodison Park. Billy, do you think that Everton can really kick on this season? They've survived a couple of relegation battles. I fancy them to push up the table a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle, but I don't think they'll be anything above mid-table. I think they'll be sort of in between 15th and 10th. But I think they'll definitely improve on last season for sure, because they won't. Well, you never know with them, but they shouldn't have any more point stocks this season. But I think Brighton have had a really good summer transfer window. I think Brighton might actually win this game. They've signed some really decent players. They've just signed a really good winger called Gruder, who's supposed to be really highly rated, and they've got a lot of talented players as well. So I actually fancy Brighton to win this one 3-2. I think Brighton might be a bit of a dark horse this year, just because they do what they always do and sign all these really good young players, and then top clubs tend to take them a couple of years later. But I think they're going to have a pretty good season this year, to be honest. So I'm going to go for a bit against the grain and say that I think Brighton will win this one 3-2.
Okay, yeah, certainly against the grain. We're going to go 3-2 Brighton with that. Thank you very much, Billy. Sophie, what are you thinking ahead of this one at Goodison Park?
Yeah, I think Brighton will win this as well. I think Everton, it would be quite important for them to start off winning this. But I do feel like Brighton, I feel like they're going to do this as well. Do you know what? I mean, I love Billy's score. I think it could go either way. I think I could see both teams scoring. But I'm going to be honest, I think Brighton will win 1-0. I think they're going to start off really well, but it's also tough because I could sort of see Everton scoring goals as well. But I'll go 1-0 Brighton.
1-0 Brighton, okay. Thank you very much. Got two Brighton wins. I think people forget because Brighton struggled last season. They've got, and Billy mentioned it there as well, a lot of quality players, and they could still be in the European fight. We haven't included them, any of us, I don't think, inside the top 6, but what's stopping Brighton from getting in it? I don't know. They keep getting the recruitment right. New manager works out. So I have to see how that one goes. John, how do you see this one going and your score prediction? Are you going to go for a Brighton win also?
Looking at the two sides, yeah, I'll go to because there's both sides contrasting styles, and I mean Everton play more direct side on the dice, like they play like a rough and tumble. Brighton under the new manager, if I pronounce his name, called Fabian Hutzler, came from St. Pauli. He got them promoted to the Bundesliga last season. Very impressive. They play fantastic football, possession football. Slightly different the way De Zerbi's going to play, but they will play. They're still going to play fantastic football. They have made some good signings. They've always got great players at the club. You've got Evan Ferguson. I think it's time's come. Mitoma, I'm a massive fan of this guy. And João Pedro, and also Simon and Dingra. They have got some fantastic tackle midfielders. They've got that guy coming from Mainz, who I felt Newcastle should have got as well. Also, they brought in Matt FIFA, but it came at a price because I also got Minty as well. I tell you what, he's going to come and haunt us big time because I'm sorry that we should have kept him. Yeah, it's players, like I said earlier on, the players you should have got rid of and not him. But at the end of the day, all right, I mean, losing Pascal Gross, he's left and he's gone to Dortmund, am I right? I think he's gone to Dortmund.
Yeah.
Which is a massive, massive blow, like. And yeah, I think I've got Brighton to win this game by 3-1. I think they're going to be exciting. I think they're going to be really good to watch again this season, Brighton. And you know what? I mean, the way they spend buying young players and sell them on the profit, yeah, they got an identity. They have got an identity. One thing I'm going to say, they spent more than Newcastle this season. And I'm going 3-1 to Brighton.
Okay, I'm going to be the rebel here. I'm going to go with 2-0 Everton. I just think it's more a case of, I think a lot of it in new season, the home fans helps. I think it will help Newcastle, help Everton, and newly promoted teams around the relegation. So that lift is massive. And I think Brighton will be a force come the end of the season, but it will take them a while. New players to gel. I see Everton kicking off the season on a good note. We'll move on to the next game at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal versus Wolves. All eyes on this one. Arsenal, we expect to be in the title race again. Can they do it this year? Is it their year? Wolves, really impressive under Gary O'Neill last season. Can they keep it up without Neto, without Max Kilman, as John reminded us? So it'll be really, really interesting. And of course, I've got to start with Sophie for this one. How are you feeling ahead of this versus Sophie, and how you see it kind of panning out?
I mean, from what Arsenal have been doing pre-season, we've obviously been really good. Our performances have been amazing. I know we've not really signed a lot of players, which you kind of hope we can do soon, now that the season's starting. But yeah, I feel like we should win this. I think it'll be a tough game, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I'm kind of happy this is our first fixture because I know it could have been worse. We could have got Man City or Spurs like a lot early on, and that would have been quite tough. So I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. Obviously, I think it's quite important. I do want to see us get a clean sheet in this game. I think that's something that we should try and do throughout the season. I know Raya will have a great season, hopefully. But yeah, I know Martinelli has been struggling a little bit in the pre-season. But you know what? I think we're going to do this. I feel quite confident we'll win 2 or 3-0. But yeah, it's a big game to start the season.
Thank you very much, Sophie. It's certainly a good game. I think, as you said, I think Arsenal have got the right fixture they want to start off with in front of their home fans against a team that will probably pose them a challenge, but it could have been harder. So, no, I do agree with you on that. Billy, we both know, what we want to happen in this game. It's probably not going to happen. So, how do you see it happening?
Yeah, sorry, Sophie, but there is just no way I'll be watching this game just because it's going to be an easy, very easy Arsenal win, without a doubt. I think 4-0 Arsenal, to be honest, they're exceptional at home, and they look like they're going to pick up where they left off last season. I think wasn't they won like 12 of their last 14 games last season or something? So I think easy home win for Arsenal, 4-0.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna because I'm match that. I'm gonna go even bigger. I think 5-0 Arsenal. I really do fancy them at home. John, what are you thinking? Score prediction wise, you going for a big Arsenal win?
I'll go for a Wolves win.
Oh,
nah, I'm joking.
I'm getting excited then. Oh,
no. I was going to say the part of people I don't want to upset Sophie, you know what I mean? But Sophie knows I love her a bit, and she knows that, by the way, and she is talented. I'm going with you guys. Go with an easy Arsenal win. Because the end of the day, right, it's just you know what? I mean, Arsenal haven't spent, they only got Cafroi as well. That's all they got, and a goalkeeper. That's about it. But yeah, listen, Arsenal's going to start well. I'm going to go a nice, easy 3-0 Arsenal win.
3-0 Arsenal win. I think we're all in agreement on this one. I'm going to turn to this game, which I believe is Saturday evening. I could be wrong. I'm really actually looking forward to this. So I think West Ham recruited well. Aston Villa, all eyes will be on them. Can they juggle Champions League as well? So I think that this will be a good one. John, I'll come back to you to kick this off. How do you see this one going? Is there a favourite coming into this?
I think that's going to be a really, really good game, and it's going to be a tough one to call because Villa spent well, and they recruited by 100 mil. They spent really well, and West Ham, they brought in fantastic players, like Kilman, JCT. They brought in Fulkrug, who I rate very, very highly. Fantastic player. And Somerville as well. They still got Kudos on the books as well. And also got Van Saka as well. But look, this game's could go either way. I think it's going to be a cracking game. I really do. I think both are going to go for it. I see goals in it. And for me, I'm going to say 2-2.
Go 2-2. Okay, interesting. 4 goals in the
Tough
game.
one to call.
Yeah, I think it is a tough one to call. I think you can make a valid case for whatever the score would be in this game. Like you go Newcastle game, the Arsenal game, it's unlikely that Wolves will win or Southampton in Newcastle's case. But this one, I don't know how it's going to go. It's really going to be who's going to start for both teams as well, especially West Ham with the new signings. Billy, how do you see this going? I don't like to say this question, but are you worried about West Ham? Because they have recruited well, haven't they? It's whether it's recruited well enough to get in the top half still or to push on for Europe.
Yeah, I am worried about them, definitely, because I think you could argue that they've maybe had the best transfer window of the summer. I think they've got some really good, like Bowen and Kudos and then Paqueta, like supplemented with their new signings. I think there's a chance for a really strong team there. And I also think Lopetegui is a decent manager as well. So I think it could be, I'm not worried that they're going to trouble the top 4 or anything like that, but they're definitely going to improve on last season. And every time that John goes before me, I keep stealing their scores, but I was also thinking 2-2 as well. So yeah, I think it'll be 2-2. But I think this is probably the most interesting game. Oh, actually, there's a couple of big games coming up that we're about to talk about, but I definitely think this is one of the most interesting games this season. Obviously, I know the big one is coming up in a minute, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching this one.
Yeah, got a couple of big ones coming up, but it should be a good one. Sophie, what are you thinking ahead of this? London Stadium, I find this really hard to call.
Do you know what? I'm not just saying this, but I do think it'll be a draw. I feel like I can see a lot of goals in this, to be fair. I think it could go either way. But I'm going to go, I'm thinking like 1-1, 2-2. I think both teams, you can give arguments about who you think could get that win. But yeah, I'm going to go for draw. I'll go 1-1 to be different.
We could go 1-1. Okay, no, I was kind of thinking 2-2 to be honest with you. So
yeah,
1-1, 2-2. I think it'll be a draw, but who knows which way it's going to go. Next, I'll move on to before we get to the biggest game. Actually, I nearly forgot about this one. Brentford versus Palace, little London derby on the first. match day, if you like, of the season. Billy, I'll kick it off with you this time. So John doesn't pitch a score. What do you think the score will be in this, and how do you see it going? Is there a favourite going into this? I would personally say it would be Palace.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It's not one I'm going to be rushing to the TV to watch, but I think it was. Yeah, I think probably Palace ended the season really strongly last season, and Brentford have obviously looked like they. I don't even know what's happening with Toney. Toney might start at this rate, but they had a couple of injuries. I hadn't been aware of too many transfers that they've made. But Palace have also lost Elise. I don't know if Gay will be done by then, so he might be playing. But Eze definitely will be playing. I think Eze will probably be enough. I think it'll be 1-0 Palace. I don't think this is going to be a spectacular game by any means. It'll be really, really tight one, and not one that I'll be rushing to watch the highlights of probably.
No, me neither. One that we skip out of match of the day. Mind you, might not have to, so I think it'll be towards the end. But who knows? Might be an eventful one. We could all be surprised. John, we'll come to you next. London derby. Who do you fancy ahead of this one?
I don't think it's going to be goals in this game. I'll go with Billy. I'm not going to be rushing to watch this game, to be fair. Yes, it's a London derby, and I think it's absolutely fantastic when you get to London derbies, especially at Brentford. It's tight ground as well. The question is, I mean, that Eagle, unfortunately, we have until Christmas time. That's going to be a massive blow, but they've got Fabio Carvalho. I think that's a permanent signing, I believe, 27 million quid, I believe.
Yeah,
if that's the case, I think that's a great buy for them. But for me, I'm going to go Palace by 2-1. I think Brentford will score, but Palace will be too strong. I think Oliver Glasner's doing a fantastic job. Yes, he's losing key players. At least it's a massive miss. Hopefully get Geary. I hope we get him, but it's on the knife edge at the minute. But it's all the sake of 5 million quid, then it gets the player. But Newcastle are messing about. Try to penny pinch. Don't do it. Yeah? But bottom line is, right, I mean, Palace still got Essie as well. They need to keep Essie and they need to keep Anderson as well. And Wharton's got a big season in the middle of the midfield. I think this guy's going to be really fantastic for Palace. They still got some fantastic players there. If they add to it, then I fully expect Palace to be comfortable top 10 this season. And I'm going to go 2-1 to Palace.
John Palace, okay. Thank you very much, John. Sophie, what's the kind of limit for Crystal Palace this season? So they let Elise go. We could still see Anderson and Gay leave. I think it would only be one if we see any of them leave. As I'd probably say at this moment in time, is expected to stay. So, what do you think? How far they can go? Can they push for Europe?
I think like a lot of it depends on if they can keep, Eze and the players that they've got now. I think they can definitely push on. I think to get Europe Conference League, I think that'll be hard, like we said, because there's a lot of teams in the mix, with Villa, Newcastle. It's hard to say with United as well, Brighton. So I reckon they'd probably finish a bit below that, but I do feel like if they're able to keep them players, I think they're going to do well. I mean, last season I was quite impressed with them. But I think this game, if they can win this, that'll really, start them off really well. I would do agree with John though. I think it could. I'm thinking it could be a 2-1 to Palace or a draw, but I do think they've got to win this game to start off. But it'll be a difficult game. I mean, if Toney is still at Brentford as well, that makes it more difficult too.
Yeah, it certainly does in terms of Toney's ability. So no, thank you very much. We'll move on to next, the big game that Billy was talking about earlier. That is Chelsea versus Manchester City. This is very interesting. Nobody knows what it's going to look like for Chelsea. For all we know, they could be in the bottom half. They could be in the title race. It could be a top 6 race. We just don't know. A lot of players, a lot of talent in there, but also they could be letting talent go, such as Gallagher, which was all pretty much signed, sealed and done. But now there's been a pause in the deal. So we don't know whether Gallagher will even be a Chelsea player by the time this game kicks off. So, Sophie, I'll start with you. This is quite a big game. I think it will draw attention, for a lot of people, won't it? And also, how do you see this going? I mean, last season when they played, both games, in particular the one at Stamford Bridge, was entertaining, to say the least. 4-4.
It's always like when you look at the fixture, it's always, an exciting one because I think Chelsea can actually perform quite good against Man City. They might not win, but, they're able to find those goals. I'm going to go for a pretty crazy one. I'm going to think Man City will win this 3-2. Man City have to win this, really. They've got to start off well because, with Man City, they start off quite slow sometimes. And then towards the end of the season, they gradually, pick up the pace. And then that's when it's hard to, stop them. But Man City, yeah, I see them winning this. It's weird. I do see Chelsea scoring quite a few goals, though. But like you said, Harry, it's very hard to know with Chelsea what to expect. Because they've got so many players, but last season we all know they weren't good enough, and it's going to be interesting to see what we will actually get from Chelsea this season, how they're going to perform, where they'll finish. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Man City win 3-2.
Man City 3-2 win. No surprise there. Thank you very much, Sophie. John, what do you think about this? Obviously, you mentioned as well, you think City, will go on and win the title again. The juggernaut, the unstoppable. And I completely agree with you. But they have a habit of starting not very well, don't they? So do you think there's any slip up in this?
I don't think they will be. I think City will find a way. I think there'll be goals in this game. Last season, I think it finished 4 each last season, didn't it? So
yeah,
I think it's be a very close game. And they met in the pre-season, and City won 4 goals to do in that game as well. There will be goals in this game, and if Chelsea just sort of get sorted out from playing the ball out from the back under Maresca, get that sorted out and get it right, then who knows? But for me, I mean, I think Erling Haaland's on fire at the minute. He was on pre-season friendly, and Cole Palmer is going to be on him. I mean, if he hits it off, it conducts the team. They have got a fantastic chance. If they get Osman in before Saturday or Sunday, cool, that'd be fine. But I think this game could go either way. I expect City to win. I'm not going to go Chelsea 2, City 4.
Oh, 6 goals.
Wow, that'd be a good game.
Not far off it. That'll be a good game indeed to watch. You definitely have me watching that on a Sunday afternoon. So, thank you very much for that, John. Billy, what do you think about this? So Shoes is the big game to talk about. Of course, Spurs come later as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a bit weird when you don't normally get this kind of big game in the first game of the season. So I think it'll be a bit weird. I think Man City will win it though, because I've caught Chelsea a couple of times in pre-season and they're still getting used to that high line. They look like a bit susceptible to that. And I don't know if you guys have just seen, but Oscar Bob has just broken his leg. So he's going to be out for a while. It literally just happened as we're recording.
I'd still like come through.
Yeah, so that's a big blow for Man City because he looks unbelievable. But I still think they're going to have too much for Chelsea. And I think it'll be 2-0 Man City and Haaland will get both of them. Okay,
thank you very much. So we're all going to agree that City will get the job done. And a lot of us have gone with goals as well, which is no surprise when, in particular, Man City are involved in Chelsea. You just don't know what to expect with them. Next, the final game, Monday night, Billy, all that suspense, we have to wait and find ourselves sitting lower and lower in the table. But, don't look at the table early on. It is Leicester versus Tottenham, King Power Stadium. If you go off pre-season, you'd go, it was a pretty comfortable win for Spurs. We know that against a newly promoted team, that's often not the case away as well. They've got new manager bounce potentially with Steve Cooper. Billy, how do you see this one going? And your score prediction. Because we need to start off well, don't we? You don't want to fall behind in a backlog. We want to keep, like we did last season, start well, give ourselves that chance.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be easy because the atmosphere, being back in the Premier League on a Monday night at that King Power Stadium is going to be really good. But I think Leicester have had a couple of problems at the moment. They've got a lot of injuries. I think Vardy and Daka are both injured for this game, so I don't know how much they've got up front. I know Iheanacho's not there anymore. So I think it's a good time to play them for us, and I think we'll come out on top on this one. I think Solanke might start. We don't have any injuries ourselves going into the game, which is very rare for us, as you remember from last season, Harry. But I think we'll win this one. I think we'll win at 3-1 because Son's got an amazing scoring record against Leicester. I think he scored, I don't know how many it is, but I remember he got the hat-trick a couple of seasons ago. He's got a really, really good scoring record against Leicester. So I think it'll be 3-1 Tottenham for this one. But I'm not that confident for us keeping a clean sheet. And I think we'll have the same maybe defensive problems as last year, but I think Leicester have got too many injuries for this one.
Yeah. No, I can definitely understand the thinking why I did. So no, thank you very much, Billy. They have got quite a few players out, and don't want to mention it because, as you said there, because don't want to curse it, but Spurs go into this with not many, if any, injuries, and that's something that is quite nice to say. Couldn't say that at all, could we? Last season, John, I'll come to you. It is Leicester and Spurs Monday night. Will you be watching this, and who do you kind of fancy?
I think I'll watch your game like as well, mate. That'd be fantastic. I'd love to do watch-alongs, but unfortunately, I'm not doing my watch-alongs now because there's too many people doing it, and I just don't think I can compete. But it is what it is. But going back to the Leicester-Tottenham game, look, Steve Cooper's got a hard job to follow back in the Premier League and taking it for Beresca, but they have. They're trying to get rid of Saha and also Fotis, and this from Panathinaikos to the club, to the ranks as well. I think Taru will be a good player. I think he'll do well for the Premier. He's a fan's favourite and he's on loan with his flair and skills as well. But as for Tottenham, I think, listen, you're going to be too strong to them, guys, because I tell you what, it's going to be a big season under Ange. I don't think you keep a clean sheet. I can't lie. But I fully expect you to beat them by 3-1. I think it could be 3, could be 4, could be 5. But I'm going to be kind to you, Harry and Billy. And I'm going to say 4-1 to Tottenham.
Well, I absolutely take that. So thank you very much. Let's just go with that. We'll move on to Matchday 2. But no, thank you very much. John, Sophie, it is Spurs in action. I don't necessarily expect you to watch it being Spurs, but I think it will be an entertaining game nonetheless. Who do you fancy for this one? Do you fancy Spurs?
I think I can only really see Spurs winning this, but it's also quite hard to know how Leicester will be. I think I definitely see you winning this. I'm gonna go 2-0 actually. I expect you to get a clean sheet. But yeah, I think Spurs this season are gonna have a better season last season as well. So I think coming on the back of last season, I know you guys will want to do better and push on for top 4 as well. So yeah, I think I definitely see you winning this. Be interesting by how many goals though. I think Slanky as well. I'm intrigued to see how he does get on, at a different type of club. But yeah, I think Leicester will struggle with this game. I think it's going to be a tough game for sure, but I'll go with Spurs 2-0, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah, for you. So there we go. Interesting. So I think we all kind of fancy Spurs. But I think that wraps us up nicely for the first Premier League show of the season. Thank you to everyone in the comments for your questions and for your ongoing contributions. So I hope you enjoyed the Premier League show. The Premier League shows this season will be hosted partly by your man on the screen here, John Sinclair, and also Oris Talks Football. I'll be hosting the first few before I go back to school. You'll be glad probably when I'm not hosting it. So you can say that. But yeah, though it should be a good season with the Premier League shows. Firstly, Billy, thank you very much for coming on. It's great to have you on board as a regular this season, not only with the weekly Spurs show, but also the Premier League show. But where can people find you across social media, especially those non-Spurs fans?
Yeah, just Billy_T on Twitter. And thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to talking to you guys as the season goes on. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Billy. John, thank you very much for coming on. Talk to people about where they can find you on social media and your work as a Newcastle YouTuber.
Thank you very much indeed. The link is down there as well for those who cannot see. And thanks so much, Amazon, as well, Billy. That is TV, by the way. And it's been an honor being on your channel as always. Up and coming YouTuber, and keep up the good work, my guy. And yeah, you can find me on John Sinclair TV, and I do the Matchday vlogs. I'm doing it on Saturday. Also, please check out the Japan vlogs I've done. So I've been there for 10 nights. If you ever check them out, please hit the likes as well. Thumbs up, that'd be amazing. And I'm going to try and do the match preview either Thursday or Friday, one of the 2 nights. So I'm doing a review as well. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And yeah, please just check us out, and that'll be brilliant, man. Just keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check John out, as well as Billy, and of course Sophie, who will come on to next. Where can people find you, Sophie?
So if you guys do want to find me, I'm also on Twitter, TV_Guna, but I also do have my own YouTube channel. I know there's a lot of Spurs fans on here, so you probably won't be interested, but yeah, my YouTube channel is Guna Gossip TV if you want to check it out. But also, please don't forget to subscribe to Harry's channel and do like the video because he's doing amazing content too.
Thank you very much. I had the pleasure to be on both John and Sophie's channel, so check them both out and follow Billie as well. But for now, thank you very much, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. for the Premier League show. Come on.